go right to the sheltered count. And let me show you what we have for you. These are the forms. And these are the training manuals that go with them. And you see, we color-coded it, so we do facilitation. And again, I don't have enough for everybody, so please share and make sure that at least among the coalitions that are represented, you all have got something to look at.
Will these forms, when they appear online, they're going to be, it's a standard, this is a standard color for this particular form?
No, we are not asking you to color code this year. You can color them any color you want. It's up to you. We used that to try to sort. We had so many forms last time that we tried to color code the forms, the printing, so that when they came in, that they were, it was a first run of sorting them, and that just turned out not to work out so well. So we're just going to use whatever colors you want, and with 2 forms, we think we can keep things separated. One more form. Okay? Okay. Again, just to drill down a little bit on who's in a shelter count report. And we'll be using HMIS, and I think that HMIS is much, much better developed to contribute to the count this year. I think that compared to the last time we did the count, HMIS is going to figure much more prominently. I know that people have been working a lot on data quality and data completeness. So really one of the messages you need to take back to your coalitions is please, between now and the 20th and then the 29th, make sure that people are entering data completely, putting in the entry and exit data, making sure that those fields are completely filled out. Because last time we had data complete, as low as 25% on a particular field. This doesn't help us when we're trying to understand the experience. So that's number one message that we want to get out to you. Okay, so for the sheltered, we're looking at emergency shelter and transitional. That includes domestic violence. It includes these residential programs for runaway and homeless youth. Now remember, this does not include, as we know from all the definitions, kids who are in state care. So don't be going to children's homes and counting those kids as homeless. They do not count if the state is taking care of them. And then again, these motels or apartment vouchers that are paid for by agencies because the individual or the family is homeless. And what we are not collecting, remember, people who used to be homeless but are now in permanent supportive housing, individuals who are doubled up. Now the forms that we're collecting, we are going to collect data. We can collect data on some of the doubled up people, but this is not what we report to HUD. So just don't confuse it when you're talking about sheltered homeless, okay? And then again, as I've already pointed out, we don't need kids that are already in foster care, treatment facilities, or adults that are living in institutions themselves. Okay, so nothing new about this. We talk about this whenever we talk about a HUD program, and so of course we're going to be consistent with the definitions. And now Perry, is going to do a presentation for 2 here.
The sheltered count, we are going to heavily rely on HMIS as long as the system is using, as long as the agency is using the HMIS system. So if you feel good about, if you're the HMIS person, you feel good about the agency's quality of data in the HMIS system, then they do not need to fill out the forms. So you can tell your account coordinator that you'll pull that data from the HMIS system. If the shelter is not using HMIS, however, they need to have the forms delivered and fill those forms out, or if their data quality is not as good as it should be, we don't want to skew everybody else, so we'd like them to fill out the forms if possible. these are the data elements that should be captured in each HMIS system. It's basically what is on the forms as well. So they should go hand in hand. You've got the agency, county, name, social security number, date of birth. The social security number, if we can get as much as possible, they would give us. We definitely would need to have date of birth to unduplicate the person. Gender, race, ethnicity, which according to HUD is Hispanic or not. They differentiate that from race. Race is African American, white, other, Asian, Indian. There is a family ID in the HMIS system, so if we can pull that, because we will later on, you'll assign a family ID on the forms themselves. And you've got zip code of last permanent address, city, state, and zip code of place of birth. I know in my particular system we don't ask this, but if you can pull that out of your system, then that would be great. We won't be able to in Upstate. And then some subpopulation questions. You know, chronic homelessness, severe mental illness, domestic violence, HIV, substance abuse, veteran status, and then where they are staying, whether it's emergency or transitional. So these should be the universal data elements in the system. So hopefully we can get those all pulled together. And if anybody is going to have a problem getting those, I think Charles sent out an email with the requirements. Just let me know, and we can try and work through that. So these reports should be run for each agency, and double check that the information is complete and accurate before you submit the data. If, like I said before, if you have a great deal of missing data, have them fill out the forms and just delete that from your HMIS pool, because that will greatly skew the agency. Or you can have them put it in and then pull it, and then go back and review it again before you send it to ORS, which will be on February the 19th. That's the date that it needs to be uploaded to the FTP site that ORS has set up for each coalition, and then Charles's email is on here. If you'll send him an email just to let him know that that has been uploaded, and he can check it. And then we go into the forms, and this is for the sheltered count for those agencies who are not using HMIS. This is used to collect data on people who are sheltered, obviously, and it is completed by program staff at the agency. So they can complete it from their agency records or from interviews. And it's one form per individual client. If you have a family, it's one form per each family member. And then you'll connect them with a family ID. And this is the forms that you have. Do you want to go?
Do you have questions on HMIS before we have the expert here?
If they have a diagnosis of a mental disability, that is classified under, as long as they are diagnosed, that is classified under mental illness in the HMIS system.
Other?